And I think
Get
we're
ready when you
live.
are.
I think we're live. So yes, Big Zebra, this is actually the old background. This is Studio B. The
Mm.
reason why I'm using Studio B is because my kid has COVID and she's in Studio A. Studio A is her
Oh,
bedroom. So what's up, 420 Atheist? So if you haven't followed my drama, is that we went to Chicago to check out a school. My kid got COVID. This is a long story short. So I instead because we couldn't take the kid on the plane, right?
no.
When they have COVID, I had to drive the kid from Chicago to Boston. Um, in best case scenario, it's like a 14 and a half hour drive, probably like a 15-hour drive. But of course, there was the winter storm. That was
Yeah.
going on too. There was a winter storm, and so in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is a big state to drive
Yes,
through.
it's huge.
It's a wide state, um, and so yeah, so kid still has COVID. We tested her yesterday. We're going to test her today, but that's
Mm.
why I'm in Studio B. 420 Atheist. I hope you're doing better than I am.
Mm.
Only slightly, sir.
Oh, well, I'm sorry then. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
That's all right. I
Yeah.
I'm at the tail end of possibly the worst gastro bug I've ever experienced in my life.
From both ends, Sammy. From both ends.
Same time,
Yes.
Andy.
That's
It's okay. Which mess do I want to clean up less?
Mm. You know what's really
Um,
great is when you have a sink that's very close to the toilet, so you can sit on the
Yeah.
toilet and just lean forward and vomit into the sink.
you got to do the bucket. You got to do the bucket or the pot, and
Mm.
Yeah.
you're on. And that's so disturbing, like in a very sensuous way, right? From a very not sensual, but in just how your body feels as it's
Mm.
happening
Yeah.
all at once. It's horrible. It's horrible. My heart goes out to you, 420.
Yeah.
I thought I
Thanks.
had COVID, but it's just a really bad cold.
How you doing there, Glenn? The real Dr. Oz. Long time no see, sir.
Mm.
Hey guys.
How you been, man?
Good. How's everyone else been?
Well, 2 days ago sucked. Yesterday kind of sucked, and I'm hoping today sucks a little bit less than yesterday. I'm not asking for a lot. I just want it to suck
Mm.
a little bit less than yesterday.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, yeah. Besides the weather, everything's been all right. Because of the long weekend, Easter long weekend, we closed Friday and Sunday. They gave me Saturday off, and then my usual days off are Monday and Tuesday. So I had 5 days off without even having to take vacation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that was pretty damn good. That was, like a nice little, Friday, me and the girlfriend just, besides going to the toilet, feeding the cats, and picking the pizza up from the front door, we didn't get out of bed. So,
Oh, wow.
and honestly, I've not, some days you just need to do that.
I'm glad you got out of bed to go to the toilet, Glenn.
Well, if I didn't, I would now be single.
Well, how long have you been going out with a girlfriend, Glenn?
3 years, and there's a lot she puts up with, but that she probably wouldn't.
No, that would be the line in the sand, huh? That would be
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I'm guessing that would be the line in the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you guys saw. Did you see some of the other stuff that Dr. Oz said during the pandemic, like just send the school kids back to the school because it'd only be a 3% mortality rate?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So he's fine with 3% of the crotch goblins dying.
Yeah.
Well, he's a human.
I won't go higher than 2.
But it's the same with the nanas. It's like, yeah, okay, so the majority of the people dying of COVID are older. Do you want your nan to die? Like,
Yeah.
How is that? It's weird how people's minds can justify things like that.
Yeah.
Like life suddenly doesn't matter past a certain age or before a certain age. Like,
So I'm going to share with you something here because we only have like probably 5 people watching this show, but it's an idea for a short story, and it's about the world's most successful serial killer. You can see where this is going, by the way. It'd be
Yeah.
about a person who catches COVID and then decides to hit up all the hotspots where anti-maskers live and anti-vaxxers live. It would be like Branson, Missouri, Trump rallies. Yeah, it would be a dark comedy. That's what it would be, a dark comedy.
See, and I wonder. See, nowadays, Andy, you'd get cancelled for that.
Okay.
You could have got away with that sort of thing 10 or I'd say even 10 years ago.
Well, I
But
would.
now,
Well, luckily, I'm not popular, so there's no one to cancel me.
well, you're more popular in your written media.
Oh yes, yes, I am. Well, I think that people who read my material just kind of assume that I'm kind of a dick, to tell you the truth.
You do seem different in your blogs than in real life.
Yeah, I'm a lot
That's
harsher.
probably a good thing.
Your mic is a lot. So simply secular. So Dave, yeah, I'm in studio. I'm in Studio B. So I had to move everything around this morning. I don't even know. Is my mic better? I moved it.
It's okay.
Is it okay? All right. What's up, Shamla? Yeah.
Yeah.
So people who read my material just think that I'm just a raging a-hole, which may not be true. I don't know.
Well, let's be honest. There's a little bit of that inside all of us, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah.
But especially Andrew Hall. I mean, he's the primary exponent. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
No.
We know that's the real you, Andy. We love you for it.
Maybe it is. Here's the thing that I just thought. When we talk about making content, it's like every there are things that I could get away with on stage that I can't get away with here, and there are things I can get away with on a blog that I can't get away with here. And same thing with Twitter. There are just things, different rules for different platforms.
Yeah, well, it's you got to be careful no matter where you are these days, because you never know what's going to happen. Like you say one thing wrong to the wrong person, and it just doesn't end well.
Yeah.
I just
See,
saw.
I find though, if you, I know this might just be my own opinion. This might count for nothing, but to me, if like you say about punching up, Andy, well, along those lines, if you aren't making fun of or taking advantage of any sort of minority, you're fine.
Yep.
Go for it. Say the worst things you can possibly come up with, because you're punching up, you're attacking the government and the system, and you're not just attacking.
And let's face it, in terms of written content, if you don't say something crazy, if you don't see something that really catches someone's eye, then you're not going to get any attention. You're not going to get anyone to read your material. So, yeah.
Hey Andy, there's
Yep.
something wrong. There's something wrong with the sound. It's coming out like I can barely hear. Like it's like a lot of fuzz and stuff.
There's a lot of buzz.
Maybe it's just my connection.
I don't know. How does everyone else sound? How does it sound?
I can barely hear you. You sound like almost like a robot.
That's
No, that must be you, Glenn.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just give me a second. I'll exit and come back in again.
okay. Like I said, it's a new set. It's the old setup, but I just set it up like 2 minutes ago. So I don't know. Maybe this was Simply Secular Day says there's no buzz over there. So that's good.
What is up with Ezra Miller? He keeps getting arrested and barging into people's homes.
I don't know.
I have nothing to do with it, by the way. I didn't give him any instructions or.
You didn't give him any instructions? No?
No.
Oh, the best thing about, what's up, Scott, dude? Glad to see that you're here. Savage the government with humor and criticism is your duty as a citizen. Yeah. You know what I was going to mention too in the first show, which I didn't get around to because, and this is my personal beef, by the way, and it has to do with Seth Andrews and who I like, and I've been on the same screen with Seth Andrews before, and he's a great guy. Don't get me wrong, but how can you do an hour-long show where you basically rage against anti-science Republicans without telling people to go out there and vote? I find that, I find that difficult to wrap my mind around. But of course, and then I think to myself, how many times have I told people to vote? I think I've done it a lot, but I don't know if I do it enough,
You do it a lot, though, Andy. So
yeah, I do it a lot.
Just a quick thing. It's like you say, always punch up. Well, if you can't attack white people because according to far right people, they're becoming the minority. So you can't attack white people. Right?
Being part of the group gives you certain perks, right? So, and you may not know this about me, but I am very white.
But apparently we're the minority.
No, fuck off.
I know, it's surprising you haven't noticed, but I wanted to come out and let you know about that.
But according to Cheeto Face, that us white people are the minority and will be, or at least will be, in the next 10 years. With absolutely zero evidence. But when there's evidence, Donald Trump never needs evidence to prove his point because he's a god, he's the Almighty, right?
Yeah, that's just a way for the majority, for those in power, to silence those of us who are criticizing them. I think I can have a pass by criticizing some people, some white people.
Yeah.
And actually, back to the point just before that, not only do you tell people to vote, Andy, but you actually affect change. So since watching and following you, I have begun telling people locally where I live to vote, and I've started making people talk about politics and think about stuff, and so you just never know the effects that you have.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what a lot of people find frustrating, right? Is that they do their best to promote whatever they're promoting in terms of socially aware content, but you don't know what are the effects of your causes, right? You just do the work and hope for the best.
Yeah.
What's up, Eileen?
Hey, Waldine. So I saw a news report about electric chopsticks.
Electric chopsticks?
Because it was dumb. But it was supposed to detect the amount of salt in your food so that you would be less likely to eat salt.
I don't have those, but I do have. I don't have those, but I do have lightsaber chopsticks, which are awesome.
Oh, those sound nice, dude.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'll get them for you. I'll tell you. Find them.
So the electric chopsticks, do they come in? Do you have like a robotic hand with the electric chopsticks?
No, they just come in pairs, and you use your hand as normal. But I don't know how they work. I just thought the whole thing was silly.
They'd be little, not magnesium. What's salt?
Sodium chloride.
Sodium chloride detectors in the air.
You can cut a steak with that.
Dr. Real Oz Chesterton.
These are chopsticks.
That is a Sith. Too. I just want to say that.
Yeah, I think the other one's green. I remember correctly. I haven't used them yet because I haven't actually had. Yeah, no, the other one's blue. There we go.
Okay,
So you could
let's see.
potentially have warring chopsticks right there.
Yeah, that was one of my Christmas presents from the girlfriend. You know, she knows me too well.
So, dude, I have to ask you: if they touch, do they make the sound? Do they make that sound?
Well, I would make that sound for them. Yeah. So
John Hudson says, "I'll stick to the fork." I'm a big fan of that too, John Hudson.
oh, I try to use chopsticks, but so when I give up, I just use the bottom part and just stick it into the fish and eat it.
There's a joke there, but I'm not going to go with there. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. Oh, a little really bad Star Wars joke.
Oh, really?
Why is Darth,
I have a couple of bad jokes, actually. I'll let you go first.
why is Darth Vader called Lord Vader?
Why?
Because when he first started calling himself Master Vader, the stormtroopers giggled.
Okay, that's a bad joke. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's a bad Star Wars joke. Like, I'm all about the puns. I'm all about the dad jokes, even though I'm not a dad.
I have some bad jokes. I was driving. You may not have heard that I was driving for about 15 or 16 hours the other day, and I came up with some really bad why the chicken crossed the road jokes. And they're bad. I'm not going to say that they're good. These are bad jokes. So why did the chicken cross the road?
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Because Marjorie Taylor Greene thought it was a Jew.
Oh, Jesus.
It just kind of goes downhill after this, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Why did the chick cross the road?
I don't know.
Because Matt Gaetz was chasing after it.
Either that's good. Either Matt Gaetz or Lauren Boeber's husband.
Right. And why did Matt Gaetz cross the road?
To get after the chick?
Because he was taking the chick across state lines.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
So that's what that's what I do when I'm driving for like 16 hours. I just make
I got one that's okay.
Chickens.
Yeah. If so you got to understand it in Canada and Newfoundland, the Newfies are considered like the hillbillies of Canada. Like we joke around about them. So how did the Newfie cross the road? He was stapled to the chicken.
Oh. Okay. Wow. Hard stuff. From the chat. Just to go back to an earlier subject. Nobody's saying you can't attack white people because they're becoming a minority. I've never seen anyone use that argument. That was from our friend there in the chat. It's a good question. And, if my iPad was actually charged, it is charged up. Maybe I'll take a look and see. And you can't. I'll just Google "you can't attack white people because they're a minority" and see what happens. Because there's. Go ahead, Sam.
And minority doesn't necessarily have to mean the number of. It's about privilege, and until we are enslaved by some other race. I don't think you can really be that racist. You can be racist against white, but I don't like. You can make jokes about white people.
Yeah.
Until we, yeah.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you there, Sam. Oh, we lost Glenn again. Oh no, well Glenn's back. All right, he dropped off and then he came back.
Yeah. I tried to fix the audio, and then it when I got back, I hit the wrong button, so I was out.
I think that there is and I'm not going to say anything that we haven't talked about before about the Great Replacement theory, right? And white fragility, and there is a tendency for particularly people on the right to, as soon as you start talking about what privilege actually means here in the States, then they'll pull out the, you're discriminating against us, and I've heard it before.
Excuse me.
We keep losing Glenn. We keep losing Glenn.
Hey, if it's okay, guys,
Yeah.
I'm feeling well. I think I'm going to sign off.
All right. Well, I hope you feel better.
No worries, Big Z. You don't
Okay.
sound great.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you feel better. Bye.
Thanks.
Everyone is sick. Everyone is. Glenn's not sick. Sammy,
Yeah.
sick. Glenn, my kid's sick.
Yeah.
There's a number of people arguing for the concept of the Great Replacement, and it's quite absurd. It is. It is.
You see, the thing is, this is that the people that push this shit is either really deluded or they're basically they're fraudsters. Because if you look at the population breakdown in the United States, okay, it's still only 20% black, like not even, like it's 17 or 18% black, if I'm not mistaken. It's very low. The other ones combined make up another like 11% or something like that. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to even the concept. You have to be so. You have to be. I'm not calling you stupid, but you have to be easily suggestible, and you have and the other people that do it, like Tucker Carlson, yeah, I do believe he is a racist, 100%.
Yeah.
But he plays up all these things. Like, I'm sure you saw. I don't know if you reported, because I haven't, unfortunately, not been able to watch your show lately. On the testicle tanning on his new special.
The testicle tanning is brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
He then talks about being a real man, and then talks about testicle tanning, just pointing out the oxymoron in that argument. But for people to actually believe this, you have to go against every bit of evidence. Now, granted, we went against every bit of evidence. They went against any bit of evidence and elected Cheeto face. But I mean, everything. Like, you cannot actually live in reality and think that this is actually true.
Yeah. It's so just as some basic, I believe it is. I'm looking at a number right now between 2041 to 2046. That's when the states are going to be a majority country. So so that's a little data point right there to ruminate about. And the Cindy pointed out, which this seems to be the right number, as I recall. But the U.S. has about 13% black people.
Yeah.
And the thing is, just have. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sam.
It is going to be a what? Majority country.
Yeah.
But you see,
so what does that mean?
That
Sorry.
means white people, which make up about 58% of the country, will be under 50%. And the rest and the majority of the population will be black, brown-skinned people, basically.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But you see, that's still a fact. Is that it's first off, it's the argument behind the Great Replacement theory is usually from the far right, which means that every single one of those minorities are going to vote Democrat.
Yeah,
they don't. They don't.
When you look at voting patterns amongst Latinos, they're actually they were majority heavily favored Democrats in the past. Now they're starting to shift and towards center right candidates, especially in I think in Florida, because most of them vote Republican, because a lot of them are Cuban. Yeah, a lot of them are
Cuban refugees, and the reason they left Cuba is because they don't like Cuba, and Democrats and Republicans are very anti-Cuba. So, it's a generalization, but also the fact is that the whites is still going to be the single most, and if you break it down, whites will still be more in percentage than blacks, still be more in percentage than Latinos. It's all combined will be more. It's the same argument. It's it's a kind of like a I'll use this thing. It's in they say that you go back 30 years if you watch hockey, ice hockey to the Aussie guy, and 30 years ago, or 30 or 40 years ago, there was I think 70% of the players were Canadian. Now they go, oh well, there's like only 51%, but they are still the massive majority of players in the league, because the next was maybe the United States, which is still only less than a hell of a lot less, and they the other 50% get made up of 10 other countries. So it's the whites are still going to be the majority in terms of like if you break down per race type thing, it probably will be for the next 100 years if you think about it that way.
Well, two thoughts, at least for me, is that one, just because you are a racial minority in the country doesn't mean you're the least powerful group in the country. I mean, you see a lot of
Look at South Africa.
Yeah, exactly. South Africa is
I lived there. I know.
And two, I'm re-binging through the History of Rome podcast by Michael Duncan, and he currently does the Revolutions podcast. Both great podcasts. And I was just going, I skipped, I cheated. I got to the end to see about why the Western Empire fell in about 476 AD. And one of the main reasons is because the Romans became super racist about who could be an emperor. Now, the Romans had used non-Roman, genetically Roman emperors in the past. But in the late empire, they're like, we're not letting the Germans in. We're not going to let a German be an emperor. And so they were relegated to second-class status in the military, in the government. And that was one of the reasons why they couldn't hold their society together, because they just couldn't integrate minorities at the highest level of power. And that's what conservatives like to talk about historical lessons. But the historical lesson is that, for multiracial states, one of the reasons why they fall apart is because they don't integrate everyone in together well.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's the
talking muted.
Yeah, it annoys me when we break down shit to a race, but it's because I think it devalues us as a society. I'm not saying that every race shouldn't have its own customs and whatever, like its thing, because that's part of what makes them who they are. But when I guess I understand why politicians and pollsters do it, because it's targeted advertising, because they want people to vote, so they know what part of the society to target. But it's an ugly in a way, and it's politics has been ugly for God knows how many decades. So
I want to bounce off that, is that it is unfortunate that the main secular sin here in the States is race. It has always been race. It was from the founding of the country. It was race. And so now everything, it's difficult to talk about class without talking about race at the same time. So we saw Bernie Sanders, right, who was talking about class-related issues, did a lot of work in terms of race, but somehow he just wasn't able to get traction amongst people of color community. And so it's you have to talk about race and you have to talk about class at the same time, which it's a tough sell here. It's a tough sell.
Yeah. That's like I say, it's for me, it's the whole you should be judged on the character you're being and not the color of your skin is, it's just wrong. I mean, it's Australians know what's like with their Aborigines, like
Well, I mean, Native peoples, they have gotten the crap out of the stick.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Hey, I live in Canada. I know that.
Yeah. On that note, I'm going to have to close up shop because I got to get ready for work. work. I go from work. Well, I like this actually. This is an enjoyable thing, but I gotta go do some work before I get to work. Tomorrow, same thing, 9 a.m. I don't know if my kid's gonna, if they test negative for COVID, then I'm back downstairs again because then they'll be heading back to their mom's house. But otherwise, I'm gonna be here. Shamla hamla, everyone. Thanks for showing up.
Just a quick question. I like I said, I haven't been able to watch your shows. How long has your show been? Only 15 minutes.
Let me close things off, and then we'll talk about this in the post show. In the post show.